Welcome to the Hudson Show. Coming up, not one, but two major announcements.
Also, why are people getting plastic surgery to look like this Dr. Seuss character?
All that and more on the way next. It is the Hudson Show from RadioU, and today is a special day on the podcast. We actually, I think we have two announcements. First of all, the first announcement is that you've heard producer Allie here on the Hudson Show if you've been listening in the past few weeks of episodes. Well, producer Allie is now just Allie, which makes it sound like she's been demoted, but she's actually been promoted. She's Allie, the co-host of the Hudson Show. She's done such a great job producing, and this was the plan all along anyways, to bring you in and get you up to speed, which you really were already up to speed, and then turn you loose here on the Hudson Show. So it's exciting.
Absolutely. I'm so excited about it, and I am looking forward to all of the new things that will happen being full-time on the show with you, Hudson. But we also have another exciting announcement for the podcast.
Yeah, I hope people will be excited to find this out. That the podcast is going back to being daily, which really means a lot more work for Allie. But that it will be exciting for the people that go ahead and want to hear even more of the Hudson Show. Now that will be an option again. So that's exciting. Now, what we are doing today, because it's your first day, people, again, they've heard you on the Hudson Show from time to time, but now we want to get to know more about you. And so we've got a lot of questions for you to answer. Some you'll hear later on in the podcast, but some we didn't get to during the show. So now we need to answer them now. Like Thomas, who says, when is it too early to start Christmas stuff, decorations, music, etc.?
I think the time when it's too early is before Halloween. That seems too early to me.
Well, you've got to be decorated for Halloween. Yeah,
there's something else going on. Right. So, yeah, before Halloween. But after Halloween, I'd say it's pretty much free game. Mm-hmm. Everyone has their kind of own interpretation of that. Mm-hmm. I personally don't usually put up my tree until after Thanksgiving. So that's when I go full Christmas mode.
After Thanksgiving.
After Thanksgiving, yeah.
Many people I know would do it Thanksgiving weekend if you're not too busy.
Yeah.
If you have time. I like to get the tree up before Thanksgiving because there's no real such thing as Thanksgiving decorations.
Yeah.
And I want it to feel festive on Thanksgiving. And so, especially if I'm going to be home for Thanksgiving, the tree's got to be up by then. And this year, too, Thanksgiving very late.
Yeah, that's true.
So if you wait till after Thanksgiving, that's even less time you get to spend with your Christmas decorations. Let's see. My mom actually had a question for you. She wants to know, have you ever been to Canada, and what is your opinion on poutine?
So I have not been to Canada yet. I do really want to visit. I would love to go, obviously, see Niagara Falls and all of that fun stuff. But also, as a big sports fan, I would love to go watch a Blue Jays game and see their stadium. I think that'd be really cool. Mm-hmm. I want to go visit all of the MLB stadiums. So that's kind of a bucket list item there, just to visit Toronto. But yeah. So
hopefully one day we'll get one in Montreal again.
That would be cool. Mm-hmm. Yep. That would be awesome. So yeah, I would love to go visit Canada for sure. As far as poutine, I have tried poutine multiple times and I have loved it each time. So my opinion is good.
That's the right answer. That is a good opinion. And then we heard from, was it Lindsay, who wanted to know, first of all, are you a cat or dog person?
I am a cat person.
Okay. That'll be a nice little conflict between us. And Coke or Pepsi?
Oh, Coke for sure.
Really?
Yeah.
I guess
not a Pepsi person.
That's not very controversial. I always people act like there's such a big divide, like one is much better than the other.
Yeah, I mean,
they're not that different.
If I'm going to a restaurant that has Pepsi, I'll live with drinking it. But if I have the option to choose between the two, I'm always going to choose Coke.
Is there any sodas that you just do not drink? Like you refuse? I
do not like Mountain Dew.
Really?
Yeah.
That's controversial.
It makes me sick.
Wow.
Sick to my stomach.
Mine, I don't know if you know this. I think I've mentioned that I don't do Dr. Pepper.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
okay.
I don't do, because it is way different than I don't hate it like I hate other things like vegetables, but I don't, as far as soda goes, when there's so many options, why would you choose Dr. Pepper? I don't understand.
I never choose to drink it that often, but I haven't disliked it when I've chosen to drink it.
You know which soda I do hate, like I would rather eat some vegetables.
What?
Is actually cream soda.
Oh, really?
Yeah, cream soda is nasty.
Okay.
That shouldn't count as soda. It's garbage. All right. Well, welcome to the show, Allie.
Thank you.
It's the Hudson Show. It was an awesome weekend of college football. Producer Allie, what stood out to you as the top thing from this weekend?
Well, I loved watching Ohio State, even though they struggled a little bit against Purdue. I have to say, the game that...
Didn't they allow 0 points?
Yeah, but still...
What did they score, 50?
They scored like 45 points. But there was still, a little bit of like sluggishness, which is fine. Mm-hmm. I was happy with the win and happy with the shutout, all of that fun stuff. But, you kind of feel a little bit like, okay, you're getting things on track here. So you want to see those improvements week over week. So I was happy with what we saw. But I have to say, probably the biggest game there's two big games for me over the weekend, and that was Miami losing to Georgia Tech, which you called.
Called it.
You called that.
I have been saying Miami was going to lose basically every weekend for the last month, so I don't know how much credit I really want to take, but I mean, I did get it right.
You did get that right. And then I also thought, obviously, the Georgia-Ole Miss game was a pretty big one this weekend.
That was a shocker, and I can't remember if this is something I'd said on the air or if I'd said only to you and everybody else that I talk college football with. And that is that everybody was so down on Georgia, but I wasn't sure if Georgia actually was bad or if it was just Carson Beck, their quarterback, was bad. And if we were overrating how bad they actually were. But I mean, they went into Ole Miss and struggled to get anything going, which is really credit to Ole Miss. They, for the first time that I can remember with Lane Kiffin as coach, won a big game. And now they may not get to the SEC championship game, but they should make it into the playoff, which is an exciting thing for them. And now Georgia, their season's not over yet. Like, they're on the edge of the playoff now. And they still have to play Tennessee. And if they get through that, they've got the college football or the SEC championship game possibly on deck, which they could easily lose. And that could be their third loss. And maybe then they get knocked out, which may not necessarily be fair. But that's definitely a realistic scenario there. So who would have thought in an expanded 12-team playoff, Georgia might not make it?
Well, anytime that you get 2 losses on your schedule in college football, I feel like you're automatically kind of on that bubble, where it's like, okay, now even though we have an expanded playoff, that still is putting you on a bubble of potentially being left out. Now, Georgia is one of those teams that's probably going to get the benefit of the doubt,
Oh, yeah.
They're like the team with a lot of favors, if you will.
Yeah.
So it's not hard to see a potential 2-loss Georgia team in the playoff at the end of the season, but I'll be very interested to see on Tuesday when they do release the new playoff rankings where everything sits.
We are truly headed towards, it looks like, all conference champions from 3 different conferences and Notre Dame, and then everything else will be SEC and Big Ten.
Yeah.
That's where we're headed. Last thing, did you see, related to college football, the tribute to Kirk Herbstreit's dog Ben on College Game Day?
I did, and it was so sad. Oh my gosh.
He couldn't conjure up words because it was so emotional. It kills me when he's trying to just say anything, Kirk Herbstreit, and he cannot get it out because he's so emotional. And Lee Corso just puts his hand on his shoulder. I can't even do it now. I can't do it now.
I know. It's so
just
sad.
Thinking about it. If you've got the heart for it, the stomach for it, and you did not get to see the tribute to Ben, Kirk Herbstreit's dog that passed away on College Game Day, you definitely should watch that because it's tough. Today, the very first day of Allie graduating from producer to full-on co-host here on the Hudson Show. So send in the questions you might have. You want to know about Allie in her first day at 8772 RadioU. We actually have at least one that we're going to get to here coming up. But first, the box office breakdown, our Monday tradition, looking at what made money and what didn't in theaters over the weekend. Coming in at number 1, and a bit of a surprise, just goes to show that this was a sparse weekend at the box office. Venom: The Last Dance, for the 3rd week in a row, was number 1. $16 million.
Oh, my goodness.
I think Venom, they got to feel good about that. Mm-hmm. Now, this is a shock to me. I mean, shock is a strong word. I'm surprised that number 2 was the best Christmas pageant ever. Narrowly surpassing Heretic, the other new release. I mean, literally by less than $100,000.
Wow.
Best Christmas Pageant 2. It made over 11 million. And so people are ready for Christmas. Mm-hmm. You put a Christmas movie out, people will go see it. Not more people than see Venom in its third week, but people will go see it. And then Heretic, a very close third with Hugh Grant. So people just maybe in a little more of a Christmassy mood already here this weekend. If you got out and saw either of those or anything else, let us know at 8772 RadioU. Allie, what have you seen lately?
So over the weekend, I actually watched a movie that came out earlier this year, and I have been delaying watching this because I've been really nervous to dive into this story because it's like part one of a story, and I always hate committing to something when I don't know if it's going to actually finish or not. And that was Horizon, An American Saga, which is the Kevin Costner Western.
Yes.
I know we talked about last week how much I love Westerns.
That's not just talk. If you're watching Horizon, that's not just talk.
It's true. It's like 3 hours long, and it's part one. And so part two debuted at Venice Film Festival in September, but there's like no plan yet as far as when that's coming out. And I'm so nervous that we're never going to see the rest of the story.
Not only is there supposed to be part two, which was supposed to come out earlier this summer in theaters, and the first one didn't do well enough, so they put that off. There's supposed to be 2 other parts after that.
Yeah.
You've got this is worse than Stranger Things. At least people want to see that, and there's demand, so they're like, we gotta make it.
Right.
For Horizon, only Kevin Costner and you are saying, we gotta make it. Everybody else is like, you sure, Kevin? You sure you want to spend all this money? But he's already sunk so many millions of dollars into it. He's got to put it out one day. So.
Yeah. And I know a lot of the reviews said how much it felt like television. I absolutely agree with that. It doesn't feel movie-esque at all, but I still liked the characters and I still want to see what happens to them.
Would the average person that doesn't love Westerns but just wants something good to watch, would they like it?
Not at all.
Sorry, Kevin Costner. You've wasted millions of dollars to make Allie happy. I finished, last night was the finale of The Penguin. I enjoyed The Penguin. After the first episode, I was like, am I going to stick with this? Because it was like just good enough that you're like, I think I'd want to see more, but not like, oh, I can't wait till episode 2 comes out. But from there, like it actually gets very good. The episodes are a little uneven. Some are better than others for sure. Like there's one that focuses on Sophia Falcone, a character from the show. And that is a great episode. That is tough to watch, but a great episode. They landed the plane pretty well. And apparently now Colin Farrell says he's open to doing a season 2, which I didn't think he was initially saying because he didn't like wearing the fat suit for so long. My question about it is why I guess I know why, but they give all the characters in Gotham, they have to have like these old timey New York gangster accents.
Yeah.
Which kind of is cool, but also there's times where like they can't quite keep that going. And there's a child actor that really he lays it on a little too thick where he's like, Ma, I got your dinner for you, Ma. And he's like 8 years old or something. And so it's just like, you didn't have to give these such thick accents.
No.
But it does kind of like with the adults, it does kind of make it fun. So
yeah, I
liked The Penguin. I'm kind of glad that it's over though, so I can move on to something else. Move on. I don't know what that'll be. Let us know what you watched recently. 8772 RadioU. Happy Monday. Today is the very first day of Allie on the Hudson Show. Yes, she's been on the show before for several weeks, but she was producer Allie then. Now she's just Allie because she's not a producer anymore. She's a full-on co-host here on the Hudson Show. Very excited about this. And we want to get to know more about her. So people have been sending in questions at 8772 RadioU. You can send yours in as well, whatever you want to know about the new girl. Regina says, in the past on the show, you've mentioned that you lived in Africa, and she wants to know why you were in Africa.
Yeah, so basically I moved to Africa with my family back in 2002 because of my parents' job. So we grew up there in Zambia, Africa, and the city of Lusaka, which is the capital, about 3 million people live there. So it's a pretty big city. So when people usually ask me, oh, you grew up in Africa, you know, I don't think they're usually picturing a massive metropolis of a city, but that's what I grew up in. So yeah, I lived there until 2017. And Regina actually mentioned, I think in that text about her parents living in South Africa.
Yeah.
Which is really cool because I lived in South Africa for a little bit during somewhat of a gap year when I was about 18 years old. I did an internship in South Africa.
Huh. She says that for her mom was born in South Africa and she was also there, or for the first few years of her life because her parents were, I guess Regina's grandparents were missionaries and her mom was born in South Africa.
Very cool.
That's an interesting story. What do you miss the most then about Zambia? I'm sure you're happy to be here, but what do you miss about Zambia?
One of the things I miss the most is definitely all my friends. So many friends, obviously growing up there and being there for so long. I have so many people that are like family. But another thing that's like, I guess more trivial is the weather.
Oh yeah.
I miss the weather so much because it's one of the best like climates in the whole world. It's a dry climate, so it doesn't get super humid. And most of the year, it's around like 80 degrees. So I miss that a lot. My hair misses that a lot. Yeah.
That sounds picturesque. Susanna wants to know, what is your favorite Zambian food? I don't think we'll ever ask you anything that's not about Zambia now. Right. It's going to be the rest of the show. What's your favorite Zambian food? She says she used to cook Zambian food.
Really?
I couldn't even name a Zambian food, so I'm really interested to hear this one.
Yeah, so we have a thing called nshima, which is a cornmeal, and we would eat that all the time whenever we would visit churches and go to what you would probably call here in America potlucks, but we didn't use that in Zambia. We didn't use that term, but yeah, that was a very common dish.
Nshima?
Yeah, nshima.
I thought that was like a skin disease.
I think you're thinking about
I'll have to look that up. All right. Well, if you got more questions for producer Allie today, she's become Just Allie, the new co-host of the Hudson Show. 8772 Radio. You will get to more of those throughout the morning. We call this Fired or Hired on the Hudson Show. It is where you can send in workplace issues that you've run into, and we'll let you know whether you or your coworker or someone else should be fired or hired. In this case, this one makes me laugh. We have someone who says, I work in a dental office doing insurance and admin work. My manager, who sits behind me, sings all day, sometimes along with the office music that's playing, sometimes random songs, and sometimes even narrates her own actions. Things like, time to call this patient, or okay, let's throw this out. She even sang happy birthday to herself the other day. Occasionally singing is fine, but it's constant and it makes it hard for me to focus. Does anyone have any advice on politely asking her to tone it down?
Oh.
8772 Radio U. First of all, if you want to chime in with some support for this worker who's going through a tough time. You know anyone like this, Allie?
Myself. Just gotta be honest.
I guess it is clear because we don't work in a dental office, but this was not written by me. But I did think of you when I read this.
Yep.
So what do we do? 8772 Radio U when you have a coworker that will not stop singing and it's bothering you, especially when it's your manager. What do you do about it? We heard from William, the obvious answer here. William just says, headphones, mate. Can you wear headphones at your desk when you're working in a dentist office?
That's a good question. She said she does admin work. Mm-hmm. So my assumption is she's probably talking to a lot of customers, clients.
Yeah, maybe.
So that might not be a possibility for her.
I think that's the easiest answer, but I think it's so obvious that if there was an option, then
she wouldn't be doing it.
Yeah, our person would go with this. Regina says she's a singer while working as well. She also says earbuds if you can, or just gut it out being a bummer. So I just not. Nobody advises talking to this person, apparently. Right. Tiffany says she's a singer at life and singing helps her release anxiety. Maybe you should join in. Maybe that would help you out with the coworkers' nonsense songs. Producer Allie, you're not a producer anymore. First of all, you are the new co-host of the show. You're a singer, though.
Yeah.
What would you want someone to say to you if your singing was annoying them?
I would just want them to tell me, you know, like if they were getting annoyed by it, hey, can you maybe not do that as much? Now, I've never sung happy birthday to myself, so I don't think I'm as extreme of a case as what is described here.
Yeah.
So I think I would probably be a little annoyed if somebody was doing that as well, where they're like, I'm going to call a client now, you know, like if they were saying everything, that's a little bit worrisome. But if it was just, you know, somebody that's just singing a little bit here and there, you know, maybe singing along to one of the songs, or they just sing a song that happens to be in their head, I don't think it's that big of a deal.
I think the singing along with songs or singing random songs that are actual songs, not happy birthday though, to yourself, I think like that, to me, that would be, you're just going to have to gut it out and not try to bum this person out by talking to them.
Right.
But because they're singing like everything they're doing, that tells me that they have no awareness and that they don't even realize they're doing it, but also that they need to be talked to about it. This is crazy. Ellie says, someone at my work does this. In his case, it's nursery rhymes, Sesame Street, and jingles from commercials. He just randomly drops his singing into conversations. And like, if, for example, instead of saying good morning, he'll sing, good morning, how are you? It's nice to see your face.
Oh, I do that too.
No, you don't.
I do.
Do not do that to me.
I do.
Ellie says it's so outrageous, there's no point in asking him to stop. I just gray rock him.
Gray rock him.
Yeah. In other words, just like stonewall, like just not interact, right?
Give the
just,
cold shoulder treatment.
Do not, if he wants attention or whatever, you know, whatever it is, just don't give him whatever he may want. We also heard from Rita here, who says, I have a person I live with who hums constantly, and I ask her to stop sometimes. I hate it so much. If I ask her to stop or put in earplugs, though, she gets offended because it's what I do to comfort myself. But that doesn't mean I can be upset about it.
Right.
But it does sound, and Sue says, suck it up, buttercup, LOL. Where's the line of where you're allowed to be annoyed by something and where you're supposed to be the one that's, you know, that has to deal with it?
Yeah, there has to be a line somewhere. And I would say, you know, it has to be somewhere where it's like, okay, if it's clearly like interrupting with work and getting to the point where it's like unprofessional, that's where you need to be like, okay, you gotta stop.
You know where I think I land is that you're not wrong if you go talk to her and say you need to stop, but she's also not wrong because she's not doing anything technically wrong. If she keeps doing it, you just have to live with it.
Yeah. Suck it up, buttercup.
Yeah. But hopefully she'll just be nice and stop. Because it sounds annoying. We've got a shake up here on the Hudson Show. Today, it's the first day for Allie as co-host. She has made her way from producer over the past few weeks now into the co-host role. Congratulations, Allie. Welcome to the show. Many people saying some kind things, asking questions. We heard from Andrew, who says congratulations and welcome, Allie. Mary, I like this one. She says, welcome to the best show.
Aw, thank you, Mary.
James says, awesome. She's great. It's good to have two people on a morning show. I'll say, James. Some questions coming in. Chad wants to know your favorite sports teams.
So yeah, I've got a few. I watch a lot of sports, I have to say. So for football, the Browns. For NFL, for college, it's Ohio State. We've obviously talked about that. Big baseball fan, watch a lot of baseball. Cleveland Guardians, the team I follow the most. But overall, I do follow baseball a lot. So, but that's the team that I do root for.
When you came in here on like your first day, not when you interviewed, but I think your first day you were wearing a Guardians uniform. Not a whole uniform. You were wearing a Guardians jersey. That would be crazy, coming in here dressed like you're the Bat Boy or something. But no, it was Ramirez jersey, right?
Yeah, Jose Ramirez. Can you imagine if I just showed up in a whole uniform, like head to toe, just decked out, like ready to play shortstop or something?
Why would it be so weird? Because wearing a shirt like the jersey would be fine.
Yeah.
But you put on the baseball pants and all of a sudden it's weird. I don't know.
The baseball type pants, you got to draw the line there.
Yeah.
I mean, that might be inappropriate for work or something.
You didn't say your favorite hockey team.
Favorite hockey team is the Blue Jackets. And then I also have to shout out my favorite basketball team because I also watch a lot of the NBA. Mm-hmm. And that's the Cavaliers, who are currently 11-0.
Wow.
Yeah.
I did not know that. Do you have any other sports that you follow that are either more niche or individual sports?
Yeah, I do. I follow some of the pro pickleball players. We've already talked about how the fact that I play pickleball.
Dang.
So I do watch some of pro pickleball.
Who's the best pro pickleballer?
I love Annalie Waters. She is like an amazing player. She's very young, but she's very, very good in both singles and doubles. So yeah, I do watch her a lot.
We have Mariah here who says, you mentioned Amberlin is your favorite band. Mm-hmm. Mariah wants both of us to put together the best Battle of the Buzz we could come up with. Each of us. I said, Mariah, I'm not taking questions today. It's not my first day, but I'll answer anyways. It always changes, but I'd like to see The Devil Wears Prada and Knox Hamilton. She also says who would have the upper hand. Definitely The Devil Wears Prada.
Yeah.
What would be yours?
Ooh, that's so hard. Maybe I don't want to put Amberlin in because they are my favorite band, so I'm not going to pit them against anybody. But if it was two other bands that I listened to a lot growing up, maybe it would be like Switchfoot and Reliant K.
Hey, Switchfoot, that's a good one.
Yeah.
And the great thing if we got to choose the Battle of the Buzz is then you get to choose two of your favorites and you'd win either way.
Yeah.
Because it'd be one of your favorite bands.
That's true.
D says, welcome from deep in the heart of Texas.
Thank you, D.
8772 Radio U. Welcome Allie to the show as an official co-host now here on the Hudson Show. One thing that you may know about me, I try not to make too big of a deal out of it because I don't want to be a hater, but I've been counting down the days to the release of Wicked. We're down to 11 days until it gets here. And the reason I'm counting down is because I cannot wait for it to be out and for it to be over, for the promotion for it to stop. In the meantime, though, I do feel very vindicated in my dislike for it because I don't know if you saw this, but Mattel is facing some backlash after they put out their line of Wicked dolls that you can go buy in stores now. Problem is, on this line of Wicked dolls, the URL for the website for the movie is incorrect. It should be wickedmovie.com. It's not that. It's actually, I hesitate to give it out because it redirects to a porn site.
Oh, no.
No good. And it's, I'm not going to say the site, although you don't have to do a lot of, if you really are, if you're out there like, oh, I'm a pervert, I want to go see what this site is. You don't have to do a lot of critical thinking to figure out what it might be. But they did also, that's not the only mistake they included. They also made www dot on there. www dot. Why didn't anybody step in and say it's 2024? You don't need to type in www dot anymore. Many mistakes were made. And nevertheless, I feel very vindicated that I disliked Wicked this whole time. And now even more so because they're not just directing people to porn. They're directing children.
This isn't Wicked.
How dare they?
This isn't Wicked's fault. This is Mattel's fault.
They entered into a partnership. And so they are guilty. It's their name on the box.
Guilty by association.
Yeah.
But this is obviously very unacceptable. Who is checking this? Come on. People need to be double checking before they print all of this packaging.
Yeah. I am curious how somebody even realized this. Why was somebody looking at the box and going, I'd like to find out more about Wicked.
Wicked.com.
Yeah, I'll buy the doll first, then I'll do my research.
Which I just gave out the site, so.
What have you done?
Sorry, guys.
No, the lives that are going to be altered now because you've done this. There's information that wasn't easily available to find online anyways.
It's not like it was on all these doll boxes.
Yeah, that's right. All you have to do is walk into a Target. You'll be able to figure it out. This is, come on. I can't wait for this to be done. I just
Hopefully
can't
they've
wait.
taken these off the shelves.
Nope, you can still buy them.
Oh, no.
They didn't change course whatsoever. You might want to change your password. And I know that we are told that every single day, if you look, you should be changing your password. But really, you should change your password to your Ticketmaster account, especially if you've bought any tickets lately, because Ticketmaster is dealing with a situation where many people are reporting that their accounts are getting hacked and the tickets that they have are being transferred away from them to somebody else, presumably, and you're like, how would they even use your ticket? Well, they're probably just going to resell it on Ticketmaster. And so if you have any tickets that you might have in your Ticketmaster account, or even if you don't, probably a good idea to go ahead and change your password right away.
Yeah, probably want to shore that up a little bit. That makes me so nervous to, buy tickets and then show up to an event that you're looking forward to, and suddenly your tickets are gone. They in this article give some examples of that actually did happen.
Yeah, because why would you repeatedly log in and check your account for tickets when you already know you bought them?
Right. I mean, I'm the type of person that does do that. I like to double check and make sure it's there, make sure the code is working and everything.
If you can, to put it in a Google Wallet in case you have bad service at the event or something like that.
Yeah, and a lot of places, a lot of sites now do push you to do that. So they'll even require that of you. So yeah, that's nightmare fuel for me, where it's I am an anxiety person, so I worry a lot about things that I probably shouldn't worry about, but I do. And so that scares me to be I'm in line and, ready to go to this concert or ready to go to this sports game, whatever I'm going to, and suddenly my tickets are gone.
And this is a situation too, where if you don't find this out until you're actually at the event, you're just out of luck.
Yeah.
I don't think that anybody at the box office or whatever is going to, or any of the ticket takers or whatever, is actually going to be able to help you in time for you to get in and see whatever concert or sporting event you are supposed to be at. So this is definitely a tough situation. And it just brings us back to the question of why Ticketmaster is just allowed to be in charge of any of this. Because this is not the first time, right, that they've had situations like this arise where they've been hacked before. They've been sued for having bogus fees on stuff that really, does anybody remember really getting truly refunded for that after they got sued? Because I don't. And they just have this. But what is our other option? There's no other competitor to Ticketmaster. And so at the end of the day, we just have to live and die by whatever Ticketmaster does.
And that's why the DOJ sued them.
Yeah.
You can't have a monopoly on this stuff.
And yet they still somehow seem to.
Yeah, they do.
I still am waiting for that competitor to come along.
Yeah.
That can you just be marginally better from Ticketmaster? It shouldn't be that hard.
No.
If you want to say welcome to Allie, who is, you may have known her as the producer here on the Hudson Show for the past few weeks. She is now the co-host of the Hudson Show. I'm not alone anymore. It is Allie and I. Many people having nice things to say. Michael and Elizabeth both said, welcome.
Thank you.
We also heard from Seth, who says, going back to the last time we were asking questions of you, he says, you have good music taste. We approve of Allie. Now, we have more questions coming in at 8772 RadioU. Jordan wants to know, what was your favorite cartoon growing up?
Ooh, that's a hard choice. I watched a lot of. Sorry,
I was just gonna say there's one requirement that you need to have watched, but we'll see what your answer is first.
One requirement, okay. Well, I watched a lot of Rugrats growing up. A lot of.
How do you feel about the Rugrats growing up?
How do I feel about it?
Yeah, when they grew up for the movies and
Oh, yeah. I don't think I really watched those very much. Just the original show. I also watched a lot of the Nickelodeon shows. I watched Recess. Hey Arnold.
Yeah.
Watch that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think those were kind of the main ones.
So you didn't seem to mention SpongeBob.
Oh, yeah. SpongeBob I didn't really watch as a kid that much. I watched it later in life.
Okay.
I watched it in
good.
college a lot, actually.
Many people don't know this, but that's why we didn't let Nene become the new co-host. Is because he does not watch SpongeBob. He completely missed out on that.
That's sad.
Yeah. That's good that you at least have some SpongeBob knowledge.
Yeah, I'd say starting in high school is when I really started getting into SpongeBob.
A late bloomer.
Yeah. And again, I'll go back to what I shared earlier about growing up in Africa. I blame a lot of the things I missed out on in like Western culture on that, because we just didn't have that.
You probably didn't miss out on much. Susanna wants to know how you feel about jelly beans and oatmeal cream pies.
Jelly beans and oatmeal cream. I love oatmeal cream pies. I literally bring them to work with me sometimes.
Oh, you don't need to anymore.
I don't need to?
You don't need to, because we always have some.
I have seen a few of those in the kitchen. Jelly beans, yeah, they're great. I don't really eat them that often. I'm not a candy person, so I don't typically carry candy with me.
And then we also heard from Brad, who wants to know, what's your favorite fast food restaurant?
Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A.
Yeah.
Basic.
Basic.
Yeah. You and Nene both. He's already got that lane kind of pretty established here. So what's your second favorite?
If Chipotle counts, I'll go with Chipotle.
All right, you can have Chipotle. There's a new trend in the world of plastic surgery, a trend that would probably make Dr. Seuss proud if he were still around to see it, I'd like to think. It is a trend of traveling to Turkey to get a Whoville nose job. If you can picture The Grinch That Stole Christmas, the Jim Carrey version, picture the noses of particularly Cindy Lou Who. People are traveling to Turkey to get their noses physically altered to look very similar to that. It turns your nose into a bit of a slope upwards. And that's supposed to be the Whoville nose job. Some people are really loving this, saying that this is actually such a cute idea. I'm not so sure that I'm so into it.
So cute to just, surgically change your whole face.
Yeah. I guess I admire people that are just willing to go all out. Maybe admire is the wrong word. Respect, question. People that, if you're going to get plastic surgery anyways, why make it so that your nose looks more normal?
Yeah.
Why not just actually go all out and make it look whatever you want it to look like?
I mean, they have guts.
Yeah.
I will say that. When I look at the pictures, none of them, I'm not looking at it like alarmed as if it's, the worst thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
It's a totally feasible nose that someone could have just genetically. But yeah, it seems kind of odd that you would want to, undergo surgery and recovery. I've heard that the recovery from nose surgery is a long time. So to undergo all of this just to have a nose from a Christmas movie seems a little odd.
I mean, I'm looking at some of the before and afters. It kind of looks better after. So I guess that's at least something. And I'd imagine this would be helpful for keeping your glasses on. If you were wearing glasses, it would make it less likely to slide right off, right? There's like a little stopper at the end of your nose. Yeah. It's like if you turned your nose into a ski jumping ramp.
That's such an apt description.
But also, because it turns your nostrils up, it does have kind of like a pig snout effect, too.
That's what I was thinking. I'd always heard that like the upturned nose thing was like a pig nose, as a mean bully thing. Mm-hmm. So it's like, I don't know if you really realize what you might be getting yourself into.
Yeah. You know what? I'm going to just say that this is definitely not for me. I'm not going to travel to Turkey to get a Whoville nose job. And it's not just because I can't afford it. What I'm about to share with you, I don't want you to feel bad about it if you can't reach the goals that are set by these experts. But this is how many push-ups you're supposed to be able to do based off of your age and gender. And it changes drastically from like year to year, or at least from like age group to age group. For example, most of the people listening probably right now are around 25 years old, if I had to guess. If you're a 25-year-old male, you should be able to do 28 push-ups in one go without stopping. If you're a woman, you should be able to do 20. And that shows that you're at a good fitness level. Now, when you go up from 25 to 35 years old, then it drops drastically for men. Then we only have to do 21 to still be in good shape. And for women, it just only goes down to 19. So not that much changes for a woman, it seems, between 25 and 35. Be honest. Can you hit your push-up goal here? 20 or so?
I don't think so. I probably could have previously. I did a lot of like at-home workouts during COVID and got pretty strong actually, where I was doing a lot of like push-up type things and, mountain climbers and all sorts of things where you had to use more upper body strength. But in 2022, I broke my wrist.
Ooh.
And if you've ever broken a bone in your wrist before, you know that recovery is very iffy. Most of the time, doctors will tell you it never really goes back to normal. And that has been the case for me. So my right hand and wrist is a lot less strong than it used to be. And I've tried to do like push-ups and some of the same workouts I used to do, and it just can't hold up my body as much as it used to. So it'd probably be a no for me.
That's a pretty good excuse. I can definitely do this. I know because I do. You don't see this because it's before you come in. I do push-ups every morning.
Here in the office?
Yes.
Where?
It depends.
You do it in different places each time?
I like to get some variety. So I just switch it up. But now you'd think doing push-ups every single day, I'd be able to do more. But I only do it once in the morning just because I think that's a good way to get the juices flowing.
Yeah.
And so I can do about 30 in one shot.
So you're good.
I'm good. I'm definitely good. I'm good for any age.
Yeah.
Technically, any age or gender. But it still doesn't feel like much. But at the same time, like, what is doing more than 30 going to really do for me?
Yeah. And also, I feel like you're downplaying how hard it is to get to 30. Like, that's pretty big.
I don't know.
Big deal.
When I was in high school, did you ever do like the presidential fitness test or anything like that?
No, but I do remember doing like contests with different people where it'd be like, can you get to 50 or whatever?
The presidential fitness thing, I'm sure the standards have changed now since I was in high school, but it was astronomical for like a 17-year-old guy. You had to do like 70 push-ups, I feel like.
My goodness.
I'm probably exaggerating, but it was crazy. You also had to run like a 5-minute mile. I don't know.
5-minute mile?
Needless to say, I did not get the presidential fitness award. I got whatever the next one down was, which honestly, I don't think I deserved. Thanks for listening to The Hudson Show. Please don't forget to rate and review the podcast.